A lot of people have housing that because we have such a strong time and such a strong market, their houses are very valuable. It's a big part of their net worth, their house. I don't want to knock those numbers down because I want them to continue to have a big value for their house. At the same time, I want to make it possible for young people out there and other people to buy housing. In a way, they're at conflict. In other words, you create a lot of housing all of a sudden, and it drives the housing prices down. So I want to take care of the people that have houses that have a value to the house that they never thought possible, that have sort of made them wealthy and happy, and especially in their later years. Got to be careful with that. I want to keep them up. At the same time, I want to make it possible for people to go buy houses.
So the president is echoing an idea that a lot of people do on this topic. There's this notion that if we address the housing shortage by making it easier to build more housing, this will increase supply and make housing more affordable, but this will also mean making existing homes less valuable. This on the surface might appear to make sense, but it represents a fundamental misunderstanding of property values and home prices. Now, we could do an entire video in its own right on if housing is actually an effective means of wealth creation or not, but let's set that aside just for a moment. It is often not the home, but the land under the home which is valuable. A major driver of that value is what you can and can't do with the land. So, the more you can do with a piece of land, the more it's usually worth. But, how can this still result in existing homes being worth more, while at the same time increasing supply and making new housing more affordable? So, let's say you have this $1 million home on a big piece of land. Well, your town just revised the zoning codes so that you can subdivide and develop housing a little more densely. This new use potential increases the value of your property to, say, $1.2 million. The present owner decides to sell to a developer. They tear down the existing home and subdivide the property into 3 new lots. They then build some nice new row homes, selling each for about $700,000. The gross profit for the developer is $900,000. The previous owner clears 20% more than they would have otherwise, and the new buyers have options which are much more in their price range than a $1 million home would have been. This means that if you make it legal to build more housing, the property values will go up, while at the same time making housing more affordable overall. You'd think a former property developer would understand that.